I compared Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, and I will be judging them based on 6 categories, which are combat mechanics, story, character designs, gear farming, adventure, and gacha, to see which is better. Keep in mind that this will be based on my opinion, and I will try to do this with as little bias as possible. If you're entertained by the end of this video, consider subscribing. With that, let's get into the video. For our first comparison, it is our combat mechanics. Now, from my perspective, this is a landslide from Wuthering Waves. While Genshin impacts do have their elemental reactions, this is still not enough to top off the combat mechanics of Wuthering Waves. Dodging, parrying, switching, and attacking just feel way too smooth compared to Genshin, and it feels like you have way more freedom when fighting in Wuthering Waves. Plus, you actually feel really cool when you're fighting enemies, and you'll also feel like a noob when you're getting smashed by a hologram boss. So for me, this is an easy 1 point for Wuthering Waves. For our second comparison, the story. Now, this would be unfair if we included everything from Mondstadt to Fontaine on Genshin Impact, so we are just going to look at the 1.0 story of Genshin Impact. Genshin 1.0 story was all about Dvalin attacking the main city of Mondstadt. It introduced us to various characters found in the region, such as Jean, Lisa, and Kaya, which led us to help them fight Dvalin. The pacing of the story is really smooth. The voice actors did a really nice job, and it was overall a well-balanced story. Because of that, I didn't feel bored playing through it. But looking at Wuthering Waves' current story quest, the progression of the story was really slow, leading me to have quite a bit of yawning at the very start. But when we reach the climax, that is when things get interesting, especially at the part where the Rover and Jian meet up and make a plan to destroy the giant statue. At that point in the story, I feel very included, which is important when making a story for a game. But when I compare both of the stories based on my experience, I would have to say that Genshin Impact is better story-wise, so it is a point for Genshin Impact to make our score a tie. For our third comparison, character design, this was a very close and hard choice for me. For Genshin, keep in mind that we are only going to look at the designs in 1.0, so it would seem fair. So for all the Yellen Supremists, I'm sorry. All you get right now is Lisa. But still, Genshin 1.0 has introduced us to many beautifully designed characters, such as Keqing, Ningguang, this cute little girl called Klee who completely scammed everyone, and you know I won't forget this girl called Mona. When we compare it to the current patch of Wuthering Waves, we could also see some god-tier designs such as Yinlin, Jian, and Taochi. Plus, breathing boobs is a meta in Wuthering Waves. I mean, just look at this. No matter which game you're rooting for, you can't deny that this is a tiebreaker. But I don't know if you could consider the breathing boobs as character design, and without this, I think that I would lean more towards Genshin Impact, just because I think that at the current patch, Yinlin and Jian are the only characters that have an amazing design. Because of that, the point is going to Genshin Impact. It really was a hard choice, and it was anyone's game. The current score is 2-1 in favor of Genshin Impact. Now let's go to our fourth category, the bread and butter of your character, gear farming. Gear farming in Wuthering Waves has never been easy. Just kill an enemy, and you'll have a chance to obtain their echoes, which are like the artifacts in Genshin Impact. That is why, in Wuthering Waves, killing a random enemy in the world when adventuring feels more rewarding. And the best part is that you don't need to spend your daily stamina, giving you the convenience of just spending it on upgrade materials or other things that you need in the game. While on Genshin Impact, the biggest red flag here is that you need to spend stamina to get the artifact that you want. And we know how hellish artifact farming could become. To get a decent artifact on a character, you would need to spend at least a week farming artifacts, and even then, you're considered lucky. I've seen players farming artifacts for months to hopefully get the perfect set for their favorite character. And when you think about how much stamina they get every day at this point in time, which, if you don't know, in 1.0, players only get 120 resin every day, which was quickly changed to 160 after player reports. This was one of the miraculous times when Genshin developers listened. Now you know that you get this little stamina, and now you have to spend this on artifacts instead of leveling their skills. It just feels very wrong, which makes it easy to think that Wuthering Waves takes this point no question asked. For our next category, it's the adventure aspect of the game. As you all know, Genshin and Wuthering Waves are both open-world gacha games, and what I meant with the term adventure in this category is generally just how smooth it feels, how beautiful the places are, and generally just how enjoyable it is to travel around the world. So, with that explained, let's start. The world of Teyvat, which is from Genshin Impact, feels lively and colorful, while the world of Wuthering Waves, called Solaris 3, feels more bleak with its post-apocalyptic design. When looking at the design of the world, both Teyvat and Solaris have great designs, but I'm leaning more towards the design of Solaris because the world design has more detail in it compared to Teyvat. I mean, this is Unreal Engine 4 versus Unity, and Unreal Engine has been one of the best software companies for making open-world games on the market for years now, and they consistently upgrade their software too. Traveling is also more convenient in Wuthering Waves because of the ways that you can move around, such as having a grapple, being able to run through walls, having infinite stamina for running, vaulting, and being able to do some gymnastic shit if there is something blocking you while climbing. I think that convenient travel eventually also leads to having a much more enjoyable time traveling around the world. When I'm playing Genshin, it feels like days before I get to my location, especially in Sumeru, where everything is mountains. This was actually the region that made me quit. If only Genshin Impact also had infinite stamina when you're running, like on Wuthering Waves, this wouldn't have been a problem. Though I heard that traveling in Fontaine is the most enjoyable currently out of all the released regions, I doubt that it will top all the convenience that Wuthering Waves is giving. Because of that, I will have to give the score to Wuthering Waves, taking the lead with a 3-2 score. For our last category, it's the Gacha. Right off the bat, both games have an event banner, a weapon banner, and a permanent banner. The chances of getting a 5-star in the hard pity are slightly in favor of Wuthering Waves, because Wuthering Waves has a 0.8% chance of getting a 5-star, while Genshin only has 0.6%. The hard pity of Wuthering Waves is at 80, while Genshin needs 90 to get a 5-star. The edge on Wuthering Waves in this section of the category is almost non-existent, because having a 0.2% more chance is almost nothing. And the difference in the pity system is also the same because of Genshin Impact. Having this thing called soft pity, where you almost always just get a 5-star at 75 to 80 pulls, also made this almost non-existent. Though almost non-existent, Wuthering Waves still takes a slight W on this aspect. But what pushes Wuthering Waves more into the lead is the weapon banner. The standard weapon banner lets you choose which 5-star weapon you want to get, and the event weapon banner has a 100% chance of getting the banner weapon. Yes, Genshin has that Chronicled Wish banner, but it is still not guaranteed. We could already see that Wuthering Waves dominates this category, but to add more, Wuthering Waves gave us this free 5-star character ticket, which Genshin players have been asking for years now. Even Star Rail gave a free 5-star character before them. If you're from Genshin, this would feel like getting out of an abusive relationship, because the way Wuthering Waves is treating us with their pulls is very generous compared to Genshin Impact. I know it looks like I'm attacking Genshin over here, but I swear that this is just used to point out how Wuthering Waves has a better gacha system than Genshin. With this, our final score is 4-2 in favor of Wuthering Waves, which means Wuthering Waves is the winner of the first episode of our Better Gacha game overall. If you want to make this into a series where I compare more open-world gacha games that are releasing soon, such as Azur Lane Promelia and Zenless Zone Zero, then leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you don't agree with the results, leave a comment on what result you would rather have. I would love to read your thoughts in the comments. And with that, see you in the next video.